much later that I found out the reasons. Now, when Big Mama died, um, um, I was her only child, and I felt numb. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do. I remember I would cry a lot, and I will go for days without eating. And I remember sometimes I would even go for like 2 days without water. And when I don't drink water, then I develop gastric, and then the bile comes, then I become sick. So that is how my sickness, when I was in my pre-teens, started to happen, even in my teenage years. So when my mom died, my 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 grandma at that time, my grandma was very protective of what my mom died from. My mom died from AIDS. And it was a stigma at that time, losing your mom or your parent or any family member to AIDS at that time, because of the cultural biases, the stigma, everything attached to that disease. So she died from AIDS, from complicated um, um, medical problems from AIDS. And it wasn't long before I started to encounter certain difficulties. When my mum died, it took me close to about 3 to 4 years to discover what she was all about. I had to relearn about her without her presence. And I think that is where my trauma started. That is why I started to understand certain reasons of why she behaved the way she behaved. Now, when my mum died, I was in school. I kept going on with my life. It was as if nothing has happened. And my mummy was always there. Big Mama was gone, so fine. Fast forward the time when I was about to come here to London, I became pregnant. And I became pregnant not because that I didn't take care of myself, it's just because it happened. It happened, and I fell pregnant. I came to London, I gave birth, and unfortunately for me, the child was really sick. The child was really sick, and the child died. The child died not when they told me he was supposed to die. He died very unexpectedly. So my child was born with a genetical disease. So it was genetics. It had nothing to do with something I could control. It was just something that he was born with. And when he was born with it, he was this beautiful, beautiful boy. And you could look at him and not even realize that he was sick. But he was so, so beautiful. He's one of the most adoring person I've ever come across with. So when my son was born, I kind of I was in awe of what I had in front of me, because his aura, his presence, and everything about him was so regal. But unfortunately, the medical side. So because of some cultural biases, certain people in my family, including my very close family, thought that, okay, the doctor has said he's gonna die so and so time, and for some reason, let's just focus on taking care of you and do what best we can do for him. But if it doesn't work out, hey, it doesn't work out. So the attitude towards my son and the way of bringing up my son was so very laid back, and I took offense to that. I started to understand certain things about my Big Mama when she died, and why she made the decision to make me stay with my auntie, with her big sister at that time when I was sick. So I started to realize. Now, for my son, I said to myself, I'm very young, and I have to fight. I have to fight for him because he's only got me. So we had gone through various doctors. We went through therapy. So he had a really rigid and solid medical plan that they were following in the hospital. And on the flip side, my education had stopped, and I realized that I was giving a part of myself away while making certain choices because of my actions. So then I started to learn that consequences have actions. Now, I remember the doctor one time sitting me in the room and telling me, Clarice, you know, I've been with you now for close to 2 years, but I want to tell you this. Your son is going to die. And it's not that I want to shock you, but I want to tell you in order for you to prepare yourself. And giving that kind of news, people will say, oh, okay, and they will break down. But for some wild reason, I was just looking at him, and I think I chuckled a bit. I was like, okay. I just said okay, and he was like, do you need anything? Do you need me to put you in contact with any family liaison officer, anybody? I just said, I don't know what is going on. I just know that I need to be here. And he was like, okay, we'll help you as much as possible. And this guy, and I till this day, I still go and see this doctor, and I thank him every time something happens. When it comes to medical things with my sons, I go and see him. And he actually, at that time, he actually broke down how my son was going to die. The only one slight thing is, he said he was going to die around when he's like 10, 12. So between the ages of 10 and 12, because at that time, his genetic disease was all to do with his brain. His brain will not be able to cope, so he's going to die. He told me how he's going to die. He broke it down. Sorry about the siren. Now, when you've been told about a loved one going to die, how he's going to die or how she's going to die, that is when a normal person or someone that is fine should be breaking down. But for some reason, I wasn't. And here's the kicker. I was actually told how he was going to die. So I was informed word for word, in a very subtle, respectful, dignified way, how he was going to die. But then I blew it off. I was just like, whatever happens, happens. And I just went about my day as if there was nothing wrong. I vividly remember that day. I came out of the hospital. Because I like walking, I like to power walk. I put my son in the pram and the pushchair, and I just walked. I walked for about close to 30 minutes. Then that's when I decided to take the bus home. I said, okay, fine. At that time, my mum